Welcome to Ed's Pinball Mayhem Workbench. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to be working on a Seeburg 3W1 Wallbox. It's on my bench in front of me. We're going to be digging into it. It is probably the most iconic wall box, and it's all ripped apart on the bench here, but it's one of the more iconic one if you think about a wall box. And a wall box is what would talk to a jukebox. Seeburgs were actually known, they had what was called a stepper that would receive from the wall box the signal, the pulse train, the pulse signal that would pulse up and down, and that would tell it what song that was selected. So the wall box kind of has everything of a jukebox except for the actual playing of the music and selecting of the record. So the wall boxes would be at every diner table. You've seen them in 50s movies. And Back to the Future, when he goes back to time, it's sitting there in a 50s in front of him when he has Marty McFly orders a Pepsi. And so that's sitting in front of him, even though that there's a Wurlitzer jukebox on the wall, which they don't talk together, unless that was just there for looks, which actually was a thing in the later 50s. But let me just switch down to here. So this is the wall box. It would allow, this is ripped all the way apart, so you can't actually see the selections and stuff. But the trick is today is to kind of troubleshoot this. Hopefully get it working. It's on the bench and kind of dead. There's a few issues that we're going to dig into. So let me turn on my light, get a little bit more light over here, and I can explain with you what I already did. So this would talk to the Seeburg jukebox in the joint, and that would allow it to play whatever selection you made on here. Now, how I said this is kind of like a miniature wall box except for the actual playing of the music. It has a credit mechanism. So the coin mech would go in here. It's currently on the floor. It has a coin. It has a credit mechanism. So what that means is not just you drop a quarter and you get one play. It would allow you to accumulate credits and then properly detract credits based on the settings of this box per play. It allows it store the money here, and then it would also then allow you to make a selection and then send the selection to the jukebox. That's a lot of what a jukebox does. And then it receives this, the jukebox will then receive the selections and the selection receiver with the stepper. And the stepper was standard for Seeburgs in the 50s, where it was optional for other models. And then it would store the selection in the memory unit, mechanical at that time of the Seeburg, and then it would be playing once a selection is stored. That would then trigger the playing mechanism to go and find which selection was stored. So that's basically how it works. So this wall box, torn down, one I got from work. So I'd just like to say, sponsored by Victory Glass. I need to get the logo in the corner, and it was in pretty much bad shape. If we look at this side, cut wires, transformer, the wires coming down from the transformer, these are cut, and I have a pretty good idea now why. There's this part of a wire that came off here. So my first goal is to figure out what was all going on with this transformer up here. This goal is to take the input voltage and convert it down to a voltage that's safe for the light bulbs. So this transformer is this would get fed 24 volts AC from the jukebox. It was a 3-wire setup, so you'd have I actually wrote it down here so I could remember it, so I didn't have to check it. On the side here we have the three hookups, but you actually see 5. So just so that you know, this ground pin, this I'd say that's brown, and this gray are all grounds. They're all the same one. So you have the common for AC, which is not the DC, negative, positive, your common, which is the one that doesn't have your hot voltage. You have green, which is your hot. That's going to power the wall box and the lights. And then you got your blue, which is the pulse. That's going to return the pulse to the back to the jukebox. Now the blue actually is pulsing to ground. So if I were to put something between hot and blue to measure the DC voltage, or sorry, AC voltage, I would see pulses. So it's a pulse makes you think, oh, that's DC because it's pulse 1, 0, 5 volts, 0 volts. This is sending pulses with hot and a voltage and no voltage with AC. So, my first goal is to repair these broken wires a little bit. And the reason I say that is there's a reason somebody cut these wires. It could have been they were disconnecting the wall box from the wall to put it into storage, and they just said, because if you see here in the back, there's a hole where the wire would leave, and this is where the bracket would be bolted onto the wall. Someone could have said, hey, I'm just going to disconnect it, cut all these wires, and then, well, they cut the wrong wires. I think that this is more of an indication of why I like to say it was put out to pasture. Why was it put out to pasture? That's pretty much why was it taken out of service? Why did it break? Sometimes you find games, wall boxes, items that are in really good shape, and you start digging in and you find something really weird. Well, it was in really good shape. It didn't last long because it had this weird issue no one could find. And you were lucky enough to find it. Sometimes you don't find the issue. What I found, and I'm trying to see right here, this wire that goes to this resistor here was shorted on the metal cover. It was actually, I just kind of took the metal cover off, which is sitting up here, and it pretty much broke right away. So I think that might be an indication of why it failed. So I got 24 volts in front of me on an AC power supply, and let's see what we got. Make sure stop in to say hi. Did I see Wesley is watching? Hey Wesley, how's it going? Hopefully the stream is still working. Light bulbs in here. Just quickly, before I go too much further, I'm going to put the new light bulbs in. So up in here we have a light bulb. I don't know if that's controlled or not. That's a 44. No, that's on all the time. That's maybe not. I have to see. That's a no. That's on all the time. That's a 44. Here and on the other side here are also 44s or 51s. I mean, generally these are 44s. This one here is a 51. That's interesting. So these two light bulbs actually light up this piece of plastic that go behind the keyboard and makes these buttons glow nice. And this plastic, if it's dirty or filthy like this one is, it's not going to glow nice. So eventually I'll probably pry these keys off, ultrasonic, unpolish them, and clean this plastic or see about getting or making a replacement. This is a 51 down here. Now this socket is for, it's actually switched, and that is where this wire comes from this from this. There's also a contact right here off of the same transformer, and that's what actually holds the lights for the program holder. So we're not going to worry about that. Just make sure we don't short that. But there's two lights in the front that are just lit up along with these three as well. So there's 5 lights that are on, and then this one is on only when you have a credit. So that's the number 51 bulb. And maybe this whole thing is supposed to be 51 bulbs. There was 41s and 51s in here. And I got some brand new 51 bulbs. I'm going to put that in right now and work that back into its bracket so that it's ready to go. And my next step is to start connecting some of these broken wires. Good to hear that I got good video quality. Now there's a couple issues with my last stream. Okay, I got some heat shrink here, which I haven't had a chance to address, and those issues are audio. I'm thinking about moving my microphone. I think my gain's all the way up, So hopefully the microphone. No, I'm not peaking. So I'm at about where I should be. So hopefully the audio is pretty good. The other issue I had was my intro video, and I don't have an outro video. My intro video still says TVMGC, or still dated, and I'll get to that. So I've got to figure out the best way to tackle this, because the problem is this got cut because here's the cover. It was tight up against that cover. And I think the cover's bent here. It's not supposed to be. And the coin tray comes in behind it. So I think this cover goes behind here. There's actually room where I don't need to lengthen the wire, but I could also just replace that last section. I do find myself doing that from time to time. Let's cut back that wire and see what condition it is. But I'm thinking I'm just gonna put a new chunk of wire in there. This would be some good stuff to use. All right, put that off to the side. Let's grab my electronics wire strippers. So I'm going to start with see how bad this is. I'm going to try to strip back this old wire, the side I'm keeping. Yeah, it's corroded at the end, the very tip, so I got to cut back. Since I'm going to put new wire in, I'm going to cut it back a ways, and the reason for that is I want to have nice, clean wire to solder onto. I'm going to use this new wire. Solder that in. I got my soldering iron all heated up, and I got my power supply on. So before I start applying power to anything, I see something that was obviously broken. It's going to cause problems. Let's fix that. Let's fix the obvious stuff. I know what you're saying. You cut a piece of heat shrink, but you didn't put it on. Well. That little tray here with light bulbs almost dumped it. It's right behind my camera. All right. So I actually am planning on cutting this wire back. So normally this is my Heiko 936. Got lucky enough to find a second one of these. And there has been talk started for getting a new stool. So we'll see how long we can last, but we're just gonna heat that up. What I do is I put a little solder on the tip of the iron, but I don't, once it starts melting, I want to feed it into the wire. And I put a little solder on the tip of the cleaner. I put a little solder on the tip of the iron to kind of help conduct the heat from the iron to the wire, but you don't want to, when you're soldering, you're not melting it in the tip and letting it flow into the wire. You're going the other way. So I'm going to now. Ooh, I didn't turn it on. Turn on my soldering iron. I'm going to move these bulbs over here. So 5-for-5 video. That's good. Now this is just a little desolder, so I don't. So I'm going to desolder. I don't have a close-up cam yet, but because the wire is broken in the middle and I had to shorten it, I would normally just put a piece in between if there was enough spare, but these are pretty tight. So what I did is I put a little. This is a pretty big lug on this resistor. Actually, the solder joint on the top side looks kind of crappy, so I'm going to fix up what we can because we want to give ourselves the best case scenario here. This is a stranded wire. Whoa! Yeah, so unfortunately I forgot to heat up my let's find some way to prop this so I can show you guys what I'm doing here. I forgot to heat up my desoldering iron, so I'm just giving that a minute. So right here is it's a resistor that feeds this light, and that's I had the schematic up earlier. Let's see if I can find it. Always good to have a manual. So in short, right, so that resistor goes straight from hot. There we go. And feeds the light. So that allows it to drop, because the other lights are going through so this is going from 24 volts AC for the select light, and because all the other lights that are on all the time are going through this transformer, it's not using that voltage just because of the way the circuit's made. So in order to drop it down to the proper operating voltage, it needs a pretty large resistor. So that's all that's doing. Let's see. Don't know if that's better or worse. Okay, desoldering. There's many different ways to tackle that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to block it no matter what. Alright, so we got this wire here. Aha. Okay, got it close. So I got an actual desoldering iron that has a suction pump built into it. This is my go-to. It's great for circuits. I know a lot of people that swear by solder wick. One thing when you're using a desoldering iron gun with suction is when you're done, don't hold it for a little second, for a little bit longer. I'm actually kind of overdoing it right there just to make a point, but the whole point is to hold it just for a little longer. Alright, so now the suction wire is gone. Get it to about close to where I need to go. And time to put my heat shrink on. Always have plenty of heat shrink. If you have a good hardware store by you, it's always a good idea to stock up. Always have plenty of heat shrink around. That's not going to be the last time I use that. Okay, so, alright. I cut that long because I don't need it all. There. And we're going to solder this back onto this wire. I'm wrapping around the top because I don't want to accidentally have the tail go down, because it's insulated with a little pad at the bottom here. There's a little piece of phenolic insulation, and that's it. So because I have to use a desoldering iron to desolder it, I'm not afraid to use that to solder. I use it as kind of a hot soldering iron. Some guys will have like a 25 watt, what they call like a lug solder iron, or they'll have like a heat gun, like an actual like Weller heat gun. And sometimes when you're dealing with a lug such as this, and a lug being that's more than just an electronics point, it's I'm not doing too good of a job here. There we go. Now I got the wire, because it's actually a metal lug. warmed up pretty good there. I'm gonna so yeah, it's a large metal lug, chunk of metal on the resistor, and it's I actually used that iron to warm it up, and I just finished it off with the smaller iron. All right, so we're good to go there. Now let's take a look at this other one. She's ugly, but it's soldered, so I'm going to leave it. All right, so that problem's been fixed. Junk wire, throw it in my little garbage ashtray. So we got this wire fixed, and I believe that's probably what caused my short, but parts for fixing a stepper. We'll do that on another stream. So the whole reason I'm streaming here is that I got a whole bunch of projects on the bench. I figure I want to share the journey with you guys. All right, so I got this transformer. All 3 wires are cut. If there was a short in the rest of the system, the only one you need to disconnect would be the actual supply voltage for these light bulbs. So let me, while I'm at it, thinking about light bulbs, I'm just going to change this one out to a 44 because I got it here. There. Okay, the ground is not that. Okay. Let me grab get a pliers to form this. So these are called the light up kit. This piece of plastic that this is attached to, it's a little loose and I don't like that, so I'm just trying to form this. Once again, fix things as you see them. Alright, there, fixed. These better. Okay. And this is held down by the 4 screws that hold down these metal plates. And that's these. And we're not going to put those on until we're ready. Alright. So let's fix this ground wire situation. So out of these 3 wires, I got one that's black. It's ground. It goes from the ground lug here, and it goes to the ground of this light up light. And I think what I'm going to do is, once again, this is such a short section of wire, I'm just going to replace it right off this light bulb. And use the same kind of techniques I did on the other one. I'm going to just put a new fresh wire, come down here. Actually, I'm going to pull this wire out. I'm going to pull it back further, and we're going to combine it in right here. Oh, that's the insulation inside the insulation. There we go. There. And I'm going to use the same black stranded wire again. This is actually a solid, but it's going to be a little easier to work with in routing it, keeping it good. And the reason I'm using this, I'm going to feed it underneath here for a reason, because I'm going to have to figure out how long to cut it. I do have solid as well if I need it. So Seeburg's that this would have talked to, probably the most popular one, we were talking about Back to the Future earlier, would be the Seeburg C, which was in Doc Brown's lab in the beginning of the movie. Marty walked by it. Okay, and what I'm doing over there is I have it's a tip cleaner. So I'm just keeping the tip clean. I see I could probably be a little bit left with this. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing, solder this up. Make sure I get both pieces going. Yeah, one thing I would highly recommend if you're doing any electronic soldering repairs, just get yourself a lot of heat shrink, because that's one thing that just makes the repair a much lower quality, and you cause, maybe it's not even quality, it's more of issues. You'll have a lot more issues, callbacks, etc. if you're dealing with electrical tape. It's just one of those things. It's a pretty big no-no for me just to avoid that. So I'm going to actually make this so it's not too long. The reason for that is I don't want it getting caught in the case. So now, nice. So that repair is actually going to be underneath the coin chute. So unless you're looking for it, you're not going to see it. So after this has been sitting here for a couple weeks. Uh-oh. You have a little bit of a problem. I have a sharp piece of solder sticking out the back. That's one of those things that, now this is a ground wire. It's attached to the chassis. It wouldn't cause me any problem. Technically, I don't even need to heat shrink it, but do the job right. There we go. I like to have a lighter around. Alright. So ground wire check. We just run that all the way up. So we got two other wires in here that we're going to have to address. We'll pull those back. And after this one. And one is the wire I'm not going to hook up until I test everything. That's the one with the black cord. But the other one is actually the power for this. And that's going to be a little bit more tricky to tie in. Alright. Still got good suction on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to remove the solder from here as much as I can. And we're going to... There's a couple ways I can tackle this. I got the wire loose. I think that's the way we're going to tackle this one. Ah. Yep. Oh, the bumper car. It's back together. And it's all right. Off-topic questions. I ended up putting it back together. It's driving around, but I had some issues trying to figure out what's the best power source, and I don't want to get it too expensive because it's just kind of a goofing around the driveway kind of thing. So yeah, no problem asking. So right now, I took the motor out and I took a whole bunch of measurements and have them somewhere, and I was going to try to find a DC motor that has the same capabilities, but finding that information, trying to figure out what actually will work, because it's not that heavy of a thing. So the motor is way overpowered, and it's a 1/2 horsepower AC 110 motor. And trying to figure out what's the proper DC motor. And the other issue I had with that is, spending maybe $200 on a DC motor, like through an industrial like Granger or Zorro, yeah, that would have been not a problem. But then batteries, now you're talking getting into golf cart ATV batteries, and that gets really expensive. And that's where it was in pieces long enough. I put it back together, and I have a 100-foot extension cord. I can drive around my driveway, and it works fine. All right, cool. I got one more wire fixed. Yeah, I probably should do an update video on that. Okay, so these other two wires, it's really hard to tell with the age what color they are. I can kind of tell by comparing them which one I think goes where, but the telltale is this one has the inside insulation. So these cloth wires have the inner and outer. Sometimes the inner is more of a tar, the outer is more of a cloth. The inner on this one is black, where the inner on this other one is not. And this other one goes up to the power in, the green spot. So I am going to say with fairly safe confidence that that is the wire that that one hooks to. So I'm going to hook that up and get power to the transformer before I hook up the other one. And I'm going to once again see if I can remove this wire from the lug, because if I can, it's going to give me a much cleaner. So rather than having two repair spots in the middle, now after I pull the, sometimes you can get lucky after you pull the solder out where you can shake the wire and it's still hot. It actually will not adhere because it's moving. That's why when you're soldering, you don't want to be moving. And let me see if I can get in there and get this wire out. I'm actually going to take that off the post, get a really good clean. Oops. What I'm doing is it's a little spade connector right here. It's kind of hard to see. Oh yeah, there's wires stuck on there, and we want to get it good and clean. So sometimes when desoldering, it may sound wrong. Sometimes you find yourself you have to add solder to remove solder. There we go. Hot, but good. All right. So this wire had the white inside, so I'm gonna go with a piece of white wire I have here, and start with this other side once again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it back. I'm adding new wire, so no harm in shortening it a little bit more, and that's going to give me fresh wire. Because sometimes when things are left open for a long time, it gets so corroded, it doesn't want to take solder. Even these wires, I'm surprised that they're not giving me trouble. Of course, the solder has flux in it. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to remember to put the piece of heat shrink on the wire first. I got lucky at work. We use a lot of this wire for harnesses, and sometimes I can raid the garbage. For doing small repair work like this, you know, 2 feet of wire, which is not enough to run through the wire stripping machine, is still useful for bench work. Of course, if you're doing a lot of repair, especially like when I was building Ghost in the Shell, having a bunch of wire around is the best. Just buy new wire, save yourself digging through scraps. But doing little repairs like this, it's kind of nice just to find the neat little piece. Yeah. So would you, in pins, would you like me to do kind of just a maybe when it gets a little warmer? Because right now we're on a little bit of a cold streak. So the bumper car and my entire workshop is getting reorganized, and bumper car is buried with a whole bunch of 60s stuff that a friend's supposed to come pick up. I need to be using that iron. I don't know why. So maybe when I get it unburied, I can do an update of everything that I found. there. Now this one's important. Hey, when there's fluid, oh, all right, hold on, better tool. There. That was easy. All right, and then this is basically looping around to that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it long because I got extra wire. Fish her through. After I get this in, I think we're ready for an inspection, and then we can apply some power, see what we get. Now the lights won't light up, but at least I can check for voltages in various locations. So what I want to do is I want to keep this running. I want to keep this relatively short. I'm probably shooting myself in the foot. And I apologize, I'm not propping it up, because if you didn't notice before when I was propping it up, it fell. It was kind of a not fun. So let me stop what I'm doing and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay. So this spade connector here hooks to the back side of this green location, and I'm just going to attach this wire to that spade. This provides the power for the whole wall box, the selection assembly, and the motors down there. So I'm going to attach this onto there and then put that back onto the green, and then I'm going to find some scrap wires to just come off of here so I can hook up the, well, at least the green. I'm going to just put a scrap wire on there so that I can hook up the power supply in front of me easily. So a lot of restoring. If you're going to restore stuff, you got a lot of cleaning. That's the first thing. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of restoration isn't just restoration is a lot more than just welding and building parts. There's a lot of cleaning involved. That's really the first thing I like to do. And even this, it could be cleaned better. I gave it a wipe down with some cleaner, and I normally, let's see, I'm trying not to burn myself here, but that's inevitable. Kind of like if you're working on a pinball machine that's an EM, you're going to eventually stab yourself with a outlaying wire. You know that, Wes. But yeah, a lot of working on restoration or repair is cleaning. First thing I always like to do, that's hot. Okay, is clean. Yeah, well, maybe up where you are is -17. It's been, I don't know what it is right now, but it's been negative all day. Yeah. You know, when it first gets cold, it's one thing, but then all of a sudden, after a cold snap like this, and it gets warm. Oh yeah, that's t-shirt weather. Okay, so I do not have this wire hooked up, and this is the black. Now, this is, from what I understand, is the return based on reviewing the schematics, and that's why you get a manual. Manuals are available at victoryglass.com for many wall boxes, a lot of jukeboxes. They're nice printed, heavyweight paper manuals. So that's something that you can you can have printed in front of you. I just got some notes written down on a computer here, but having a printed one's better because you don't have to flip back and forth, especially when you're working on something. Let's grab a short section of wire. It doesn't matter what color. White's right here. And what I'm going to do is just create a wire to hook into this for my power. do that, I'm just gonna strip a section off. Now, don't need to put a spade on this, but I just want something to be able to clip a test lead on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bend a little bitty hook, grab my third hand, and just tin it just a little bit, just to kind of keep it from fraying. Because, you know, once again, we don't need, when we're testing it, to actually create issues. And that's talking from experience. When you don't tin things and the wire frays, you're sitting there testing it. Working with a buddy, we were testing a new product, and two alligator clips touched, and he's like, you know, darn it, can't blame anybody but yourself. But it still sucks. We're making a little test wire. We got solder, we got wire, we got everything here. Yes. What was the last game you got cut on? Was that rock or was that vector that got you? I've always impaled myself working on those stupid inlane switches that stick up, and you trying to clean and wax, and ouch. All right, you actually got 3 steppers that I need to rebuild for Wurlitzers, and that's actually gonna be a fun conversation. We're gonna do a wall box first. All right, I'm gonna put this on the green post, so I got something to tie into. Now, when I tighten this in, always make sure the hook follows the direction you're tightening. So it goes with house wiring, electrical wiring. So my hook is hooked. There, you can see it there. It's hooked this way, so I'm going to be tightening that way. That way you don't push the wire out. Of course, this is designed for spade connectors, and if you were hooking this to a jukebox, you would need to get a cable with a 3-wire cable. You could use solid security wire, but something stranded is going to be nice. And then you need a three-pronged Jones plugs. That has 2 straights. It's about, a little plug about this big. It'll plug right in. All right, so now I got, once I said, right in front of me. You can't see it, but I can. Vector. The tin whiskers, don't start with me. All right, so I got my test leads. I got my common marked with a little piece of heat shrink. Something doesn't like that. Huh. It should be giving me voltage. This is not touching anything. Let's confirm that. Sure. Hearing a popping. Okay. So, I don't know what that popping I was hearing. It sounded like it was coming from the power supply, or I got a speaker right there. So, I have not cleaned or oiled anything, but it seemed to move. So this is one complete unit on here. And, here we go. So, we successfully have that light lit up. Now we have no credits. So if any one of these 3 little levers, and that's where the coin mech would hit 1, 2, or 3, depending on what the coin is, we put a credit on. So other than being dirty on this side, this actually is working. But my lights aren't working, and that's the problem, I think. I think that's why I got out. So the coin mech would actually have 3 different slots in it, and it would be allowed to take in one slot in, which is actually quite the invention. It would then be able to output in a different spot if it was a quarter, a nickel, or a dime, But if it was neither, it would reject it out of the side, or if it didn't know what it was, if it had issues like dirty or something like that. So, well, thank you, Wesley, for tuning in. We'll see you later. Uh-oh, now it's not turning anymore. All right, so we got something. We don't know if we got good pulses, but we got something. So now let's figure out the voltage for the lights. Carefully not short something. This is where we gotta keep an eye on what we're doing here. All right, so this here wire, convoluted and all that. Actually, what I can do is I'm going to turn this off, because no matter what, actually, no, let me just check the voltage. So, we were talking about the multimeter last time we got together. I am going to put this to AC. I am going to take my black lead, which is my ground, common. I'm going to just touch that to the case. I'm going to touch the other side to this wire, and I should be getting about 6 volts, which I am. Not having a hard time holding it, but so I'm getting 6 volts. That's good. I'm just curious. I'm going to hold it onto here. Getting millivolts. Alright, this is what goes to the light bulb. And I'm going to now turn off the power. So now there's nothing. I am going to put this to continuity test. And what I'm going to do, hold that there. And I am getting something. Strip that back and get a better connection. Getting 4 ohms. So I'm willing to bet if I start taking light bulbs out, let me hook that up with a test meter just so we can see what changes as I take light bulbs out. So this is the wire that comes from the transformer that goes to light bulbs that's currently cut. So I'm getting 4 ohms. Take a light bulb out, still getting 4 ohms. Now I'm getting 6 ohms. And I'm open. Alright, so that is telling me that currently, because a light bulb is a short, when there's no, it's actually fun dealing with amperage and current and figuring out a light bulb has a different resistance when it's under load and hot than it doesn't. So right now, no light bulbs in the circuit, and we're not getting any shorts. Let me touch these cases here. Yeah, so we're good. So if I start putting light bulbs back in, 13 ohms. 5 ohms. Let me put this one back in. 4 ohms. All right, so it's seeing all the light bulbs. And I'm not going below 4 ohms when I put them all in. So that is great. That tells me that this fix I did here that I found it touching the metal may be the reason, the whole reason why this was cut. Throw that off to the side, because I think we're cooking with gas here, guys. These are going to go back on today. All right, so I got one more wire to fix. That's off. Let's get these out of the way. Now this one, this one of these wires had a chunk sitting out of it. I'm just going to see if I have enough wire here to fix this without... Actually, there might be enough wire. For me just to solder these two together in place, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I definitely can't show you. I'm definitely going to use a big enough piece of heat shrink. Okay. Let's see, how bad is this side? It's pretty chewed up from someone hacking at it. I think what someone did is they just cut and went to town. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put a new piece of wire in there. Wah wah. Hey, TurboGrafx 7. It's been a while. Thank you for stopping by. How you doing? I have not actually been doing much on this channel or other channels. Because this is why the wire is light as well, I'm going to use yellow. I think yellow is fine. Be fine. We've been keeping ourselves busy up here. It's getting cold. That's the problem. Just lost my heat shrink, I think. Working on a new shop edition. Maybe doing some streams out there in the future. Going to be doing I'm going to do is make this so I can rough cut it a little better than the last time. Doing some woodworking, possibly being on a show. Yeah, I decided that one thing is I had all these little mini projects on my workbench that I really wanted to start working on, and I just have been trying to find the energy to muster up and do it. And plus, the channel could be using some more content, and that's where I thought, especially some of the jukebox related stuff like this in particular, it'd be good just to kind of show people. We did a lot of videos where we were kind of quick. We do like a 10-15 minute synopsis of what we'd done, but when it actually came down to it's kind of a give or take. Do I make a longer video and pretty much stream, let you guys talk to me while I work, and as things go, someone could watch it and maybe learn how to repair, but it's going to be a little bit harder for them to find the repair work, but they can actually see it's done. Or the other side of the coin is do a video, say this is what I did, but not actually show it. The third option is to video it and edit it, but that gets really tiresome. And I'd rather just make content than edit. All right. So yeah, I decided to go yellow on this one, particularly because I wanted to stay in the lighter scheme. But the problem is, okay, so this comes up to this connection. So on here, on the light bulb. Let me see if I can show you guys a little closer. See, the light bulb has uninsulated. So the interesting part is a lot of times in pinball, these miniature bayonet sockets is what they're called. But a lot of pinball companies will call them 44, 46, 47 sockets. Put that away. These miniature bayonet sockets, there's different ways that they're built, and one way is that the outside, or the main outside of the bulb is actually attached to the mounting tab itself. And in this case, as you can kind of tell, we want to control it a little bit better, even though it would be okay. This one is isolated, so the tab that I'm soldering to is attached to the outside of the socket, and the center pin of the light bulb, which goes there, is attached to the black wire that we put in. It's actually ground. It's a little reversed from the way I think about it. And then so then the bracket that mounts it to anything is not electronically attached to anything, but it's physically attached. Obviously, you need some physical attachment, don't we all? And that allows allows it to be attached to the actual unit itself. And but you know, we don't want that insulated. So if you ever have to replace a socket, just keep in mind how is it electronically attached. You just can't say I just need a socket. Now another thing I'm going to keep in mind with this is I need this socket to be able to move, and so I'm going just to follow that black wire up I did, make it a little longer because it's taller, and there we go, and just out of this end. Yeah, I'm with you. Editing is a lot of work, and I go back to when I was streaming for MGC, and that's kind of a lot of what I revived to be back here today. I enjoyed teaching people through doing, and kind of building a community. Eventually I'm going to get on a regular schedule. I haven't decided what that is yet. I mean, I was thinking about Wednesdays, but that doesn't mean I can't just pop in any day I want and create a stream. Ooh. Sorry, I got a little... have to also make sure that my repair work that I'm doing on stream is enough quality that I don't have to go redo it after stream. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of just... in a way stream when I feel like it, but in another way think about getting on some sort of schedule. Now something I could do to hold these wires the same direction coming off of here is if I was attaching them both at the same time, I could put a small piece of heat shrink, just make a ring for it. What I'm going to do here is, because I want to control this, I'm going to just use an alligator clip to see if I can clip them both. I'm going to solder that back on right now. So yeah, I don't have time for editing. I'd rather create content. I mean, some of our other videos are edited. That's going to be more, and we're still going to continue doing those. But I like to just do some, try to get a video or a stream at least once a week, and just hopefully it's a happy surprise. You guys see me, and keep an eye out for streams. Pretty much, just I might start announcing them on Facebook, but for right now, it's just, hey, I think I'm going to stream. Let's give it a shot. So, here goes nothing. I got my AC power supply over there, and what I did is, this is just a benchtop power supply. I got a Jefferson or Iowa auto swap meet. It's kind of funny. And it has screw terminals for banana plugs in the front, and I never got some of those. So I got, I had just a test leads, and cut one in half. I'm like, oh crap, how do I know which one's which side? So I just heat shrinked a little piece of heat shrink on one side, let me know that that's negative. I did the same on the other side. I just ran some long wires, so I just know. Of course, this is AC, so it's not as important. I turn you on. Yeah, I understand. I know you're busy, so... Okay, just carefully. There we go. I got my lights. I got lights! Yay! Okay, so I got lights. I got... Okay, that is awesome. I think what I'm going to do... Meantime, I'm just going to throw this piece of metal in because I'd like to have one or two screws holding holding the light panel down. Yeah, I agree. I know you. So now, with TurboGrafx 7, are you still where are you streaming now? Because I've pretty much given up on I've given up on Twitch. The one thing that kind of gets me about Twitch is we have a community built on YouTube here, so that's where I'm going to do all my streaming from now on. Jeremy and I have built a nice community, and we want to honor that. The other thing is with Twitch, and of course the lack of indexing and finding stuff. I'm kind of annoyed with that, so I want to stay with a platform that's going to support our let us archive our videos, and we have a community built. and it's going to be here for a while. So, all right. So, what we got here, we got the selection assembly, and now it's stable. You can see you have these two lights, and this piece of plastic, clear plastic here, is dirty and is cracked. I really need to pry all these buttons off, run with the ultrasonic, polish the front, and then at that point, this plastic will come off with 4 screws, and that will get cleaned. Or I'm even talking about making replacements for those, because when they're cracked and look like this, it's just no good. But I need to have that laser cut. It is something I could have made, so that's something we're going to be having come in. So you can see those two lights. You see this light. See, this light is off. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's because there's no credits on here. So when I create a credit, it locks in. Now we got a credit light, and that allows me to make a selection. So J4. So we are off to the races. One thing I should test everything as I go together. So I got my first switch. That does something. All right, my second switch, the middle, gives me 1 credit. So the first switch gave me 2, and the third one gives me 1, 2. All right, so that must be 1 credit for a nickel, 2 credits for a dime, and 3 for a quarter. Kind of sounds like a ripoff, doesn't it? So let's talk a little bit more. Okay, about the rest of these switches. I'm just wondering what I should oil up and clean. So we got, turn this off. Now let's talk about cleaning a little bit. So here is the part of the box, and I can turn it on. I'm going to put a credit on. And you can actually see what happens when I make a selection. Uh-oh. It doesn't like to be at that angle. It likes to be at this angle. Interesting. So this spins, allowing it to make selections. So this needs to be all 100% clean. That's probably the next thing I do. These are my 3 switches for my credits. Based on which one I press, it puts one of those in and locks it. It looks like I can see right here, these wires are rubbing, so I need to work on that. Looks like there's almost a hook missing to keep those from rubbing. So let me, okay, they're not rubbing actually, it's just an optical illusion. So the switches are activating. I'm going to grab some trusty dusty switch cleaner. I'm just going to go through my switches quickly. Just want to, now it's off. Those are working, but just a little quick polish won't hurt. I want to make sure all the switch, I mean this guy isn't that too far off. Yeah, I mean that's why I'm my biggest thing with all the different streaming platforms, and I'm not going to get into the politics around some of them, but I mean TikTok, yes, you want to find something, but a lot of people on TikTok were like, well, there's no archive footage on here. Well, there's not. It's not designed for that. It's not the location where you want to be archiving repairs. So repairs, I think repair stuff, YouTube is the go-to for that. and that's where I'm going to put my repair eggs in my basket, so to speak. And I'm hoping people can continue finding us and building the community that we have, and being happy we're still here and trying to just share our repair knowledge. I've been doing a lot more with jukeboxes lately, of course. And I think this is a nice little thing. It's been sitting here in pieces for about a week. Let's get this bad boy up and going. There's a few different ways to clean this. And I have used high-grade sandpaper before, but I think because this is so gummy, I'm gonna I'm just gonna get some cleaner. Let's start with that. Alright, I'm back. I got some alcohol, got a little Scotch-Brite, a little worn down Scotch-Brite, and a paper towel. And that's one problem, the biggest issue with steppers, wall boxes, both of them, is continuity issues. And wow, you can see that grease come right off. So I mean, you can get them working and appear to working like this one is, but that doesn't mean you're sending the right number of pulses. So if you say, hey, make a selection on a wall box, and it doesn't do anything, or it doesn't give me the right number, it'll do something. I'll send a number, but not the right number. Well, there's a switch. There's a contact. I can see how much cleaner that is. Trying to see, there's no contacts in the park location, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't just run a little paper to clean it. No, Victory Glass. We talked about it. We showed out last year, and we just we did Pinball Expo. We had a goal. We wanted to bring the VMC jukebox. It's everyone's like, oh, that's a MP3 jukebox. It actually was using it's using a arcade monitor to display the title strips. That's it, but it was playing real records. And when I opened it up and showed that to people, they're like, oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's actually pretty rare. We ended up getting a darn near new one from Germany that just came in a container, and finding them is not, finding them working is hard, but they're not common boxes. Luckily Aaron had one he wanted to show off, and he wanted to talk to Gary Stern about it. And so that's why we went to one of the major reasons we went to Pinball Expo. Now, we did MGC one year, but it's a lot of time, and let me grab some oil here. Me personally, I actually grab the grease too. Me personally, I also need a show which I'm not working, because I've worked a lot of shows lately, and that's kind of one of those things. Now, with that said, if someone's like, I'd like something brought to MGC, I probably could arrange it, especially if it's small enough for me to bring it. I could bring orders. Okay, so this is kind of sticking. I'm going to try to loosen that up a little bit. Just some lightweight oil I use a lot of. I think it's actually in the lock it's sticking. Luckily I found a key for this. Yeah, it was in the lock. Alright, cool. Yeah, we enjoyed being at MGC, but I hate to say it, our customers are not there. We had a good a talk at Pinball Expo. We didn't have that much people around the booth, so not enough to go to celebrate a different show for right now. Maybe in a couple years. We are on the cusp. Actually, I could let some stuff out because we're releasing some new products this week, and some interesting new products actually. So we are. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a couple drops of oil up on this gear mechanism, just because it seems a little sticky right here. So I'm not gonna take much oil, just a little bit, just to make sure nothing jams. Yeah, let me get this oil, then I can talk about a product or two. Want to make sure we don't have any issues. Everything works, because this is pretty darn close to being good. At least good for today. Alright. So let's see. Turn this on. Okay, so what I like to do, we'll see, throw just a little bit of grease on these contacts to keep them from corroding, and very little bit, just a little bit. And this also allows those wiper arms to not get stuck. Of course, I had another one that I did this to, and Aaron had to clean them all off, so we'll see how that goes. There. Okay, yeah, light's not on. I think we're cooking with gas here. Alright, cool. Some new products. Actually, arcade stuff. This is, I think this is going to be, as soon as I put it on the website. Push for credit. So if you have any games that doesn't have a good free play mode, or video games that in the free play mode it has a stupid animation, or doesn't have the animation, it has just a free screen like Crystal Castles. I have one of those for sale right now. It has the same problem where it just does burn-in. You put one of these, you fish the wire, this magnets to the coin door, and then you can fish the wires through the coin slot, and they will then solder them to the wire. Then you just press this little button, and you'll be able to add credits. So this is I think we decided on $6 a piece, and if you buy a certain amount of them, we'll ship them for free. So that's going on the website pretty darn soon. We have a few of them ready to go. Let me slip this piece in. See how people like that. We have a couple arcade projects. Yeah, the one thing is, I know there's some other solutions to do that, and this is that was the brain of Aaron. They will be on Victory Glass website. I know we're a jukebox company, but we have a couple other products like the Atari credit windows that you can't get for the Bronze Age games. I made those because I needed some, and I thought they were cool. Obviously, other people didn't. Otherwise, we wouldn't have tons of them still. But could work for jukeboxes, but it's just, instead of drilling a hole, you just fish this through and solder it in, and you don't have to damage anything. It's easy, and it's reversible. So yeah, that's what we thought. We thought we'd throw them out there, and it's we didn't want to get it. Yeah, it could be fancier and stuff, but also we want to get it cheap. So if you have 20 games, you don't have to be spending $2,000 to get these for them. You just 25, what, $200, $100. You could have well, a little bit more than that. You get the point. You could have them in all the games for pretty reasonable, and rock and roll. Okay, so now I'm vertical. Put a credit. So, you know what? Let's try something here. Put this to AC. Hook it to ground. Let's just check the AC. 24 volts. Let's go to this. Oh, okay. I go from AC. Wait, we decided we go AC to the pulse wire. Yeah, I got an alligator clip back here. I can just do it that way. Alright, so I'm going to go to the pulse wire. Oh, wah wah. Okay, so now I'm going to make a selection. Unfortunately, I don't have a... Actually, I do. Hold on. Where is it? Can't remember where I put it. I have a nice Simpson mechanical... So, anyways, I wonder where I put my multimeter. I have a nice Simpson that's a digital gauge. Uh-oh. One sec. Alright, we're still here? Can you still hear me? Okay, great. So you kind of get the point. I mean, with the digital, it's hard to see, but if I had my analog multimeter, you can see the pulses. I'd have to hook up like a light bulb with a resistor, like in here, in order to show flashing. But it's pulsing, and it's an interesting pulse because it's 5 sections times 20, depending on how it is. But I'm not going to get into that. The other product we were talking about, now you asked about being at a MGC. So in Tron, the jukebox is the STD 160. I actually got one back here. I've done a couple videos on it. Seeburg, it's XQS 160. Same jukebox, different piece of glass. We'll get into that. We won't get into that today. We're having 3 new products for that. 4 new products coming out for that era of machining. The big thing is replace the black box, which will allow you to stream into the box, replace the preamp. It's going to be pretty cool. So it also allows our remote app to operate and pretty much remote control the jukebox from your phone. So you can send a selection. You can send Sweet Dreams from your phone. Let me grab the next part for this. Alright, here's a couple more pieces for this jukebox. This is the title pages. This flips, allows you to read it, but doesn't actually control what you're going to see. And see, we're missing some flip springs. I think we are. I'm pretty sure I'm missing some flip springs on here. Or some springs are disconnected. Yeah. It's supposed to have 2 flip springs. So yeah, this one. Either way. And this has 2 light bulbs on the top. And this, someone put electrical tape on here. I wonder why. And this will go in here. And these lights are supposed to light up. Let me get some more 44s. I'll be right back. Alright, so let's see if I did this right. Aha! Aha! There. So, okay. We're gonna do that hits this plate, and that's probably the next thing that's dirty. Cool thing is if you get a wall box and these pages look bad or they have issues, they're an easy part to look for better ones. Alright, so I just clean those up. There we go. Yeah, so now it's nice and clean. Cool. Okay, let me put this off to the side. Now, there's this assembly. This is bent. This is the coin mech I was talking about. It has the 3 spots for quarters, nickels, and dimes. This is the coin entry. Needs to be cleaned up. Coin glass up here, 3 plays for a quarter, 1 play for a dime. It's not supposed to do anything for a nickel, but I guess it does. And this is held in with 2 screws. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those 2 screws off. And keep digging into this. Okay, that's the top part. Let's take a look at that. Not in too bad shape. Let me just get some cleaner. Let's clean this up. And we're going to test this. Kind of chewed up right there. I wonder if this isn't the original coin mech. So, everybody should have money. I don't know if I have a nickel. Come on, I got a dime. I have some just random money for testing in my workbench. So that goes through. That goes through. Problem with the nickel. Okay, so nickel gets jammed. When I pick this up, it goes through. So that tells me I could have some dirt in here. So let me get my cleaner. Got to clean that, polish that, clean this, and then this can go into the wall box, and one more thing done. Alright, so I want this to accept all three denominations, even if I'm not using them, so I'm just going to use a little bit of, they always say use soap and cleaner. Use a little bit of my worn out steel wool just to make sure if there's any rough spots in here, because the coin is sliding against this. Clean that up real good. Do the same for here. Just make sure I got nothing in there. Sometimes on a single mech, the magnet has a little adjustment that pushes it out. I'm hoping that we're just binding up a little bit. It could be a speed issue, and we'll tackle that. So I'm going to hold this vertical again. Caught underneath that. Do I have an adjustment to push that out? Now sometimes these are just warped and don't work. And that could be a sucky part of this, but maybe the nickel's dirty. Pull this out slightly. Okay, I'm just going to watch what happens when I put... Okay, dime goes that way. Quarter goes into the top one. So I'll show you guys. It's right behind that, right there. If it keeps going, it should come out the proper spot. Huh. That's very interesting. I keep looking for a screw to adjust it, because some of these have a screw that you tighten up and you can just push this out a little bit. But I am not seeing that here. I think I'm going to have to go through a little bit more drastic measures, guys. And the reason being is I'm not commercially operating this. I'm going to have to... see if I got a high spot, which it looks like I do. Could just be from age. The good part is because this is a magnet, it's just pulling the file right down. It's so close, it's just a little binding. Let's give that a shot. It seems like it's getting further. The other thing that can be now, I don't think this is the problem here. Other thing that can cause issues is sometimes these little pivots get gummed up. and they cause the coin to not move through. Yeah, I'm with you. It's worth a shot. I'm just going to try. It's getting caught on this magnet, so I'm willing to bet that this could just be warped from sitting unused for years. I mean, this is from the 50s. And, you know, I'm not afraid to open it up and make it not reject, kind of, if you know what I mean. But I think I'm doing some good, because nickel's getting further. You know, if it doesn't accept a nickel, I guess it's not the end of the world, because the glass on top doesn't say nickel. Oh, it's getting further. It's like right on the back magnet right here. Give it one more shot. I feel like I'm taking some material off. As long as I don't drop it on myself again. Not enough. Alright, we're going to call it as not working with nickels. But that's okay. Let's clean this up. Using a little Totally Awesome is good about taking nicotine off and grease. It's just a good quick cleaner. $9.29. Alright. Fun fact is this is not the original glass. So I might have to grab some better glass. So the glass originally is printed on white and has a red felt behind it to give that nice red color. This is printed on paper with clear glass in front of it. So this is actually glass here where you throw the coin. This is kind of just a 3W1, nothing, not the coolest one in the world, but I mean not the best conditioned one in the world, but it's complete. Just trying to make it a little nicer, make it work when I need to test it, when I need something to test with. I got a stepper I'm going to be eventually playing with for the AMI. Ooh, that talks to a 3WA, which is the 200 select version. I don't think it talks to this one, but I thought that's interesting that it's an AMI and it's designed to accept Seeburg steppers or Seeburg wall boxes, because Seeburgs were the wall boxes were so popular, but if anybody else wanted to get into their market, they had to, you know, adapt to work with them almost. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, another thing is I understand I could be taking this all the way apart to get a better clean. I am aware of that. I'm just trying to get it clean enough, be respectable, not look like dirt on the shelf, and work. So last thing I'm going to do on this, and it's going to just take me a few seconds, is to use a little chrome polish. Not much of this left. That's just going to cut all that grease off. Some gunk in the front here, just not coming off of the totally awesome. What I'm using is I like just to use Mother's mag polish, works good, and a little bit of fine steel wool, takes that grease off. Especially something that's 70-ish years old. 75-ish years old. So yeah, if you guys don't mind hanging out, occasionally chatting, and talking jukebox, pinball, arcade, whatever we're working on today, feel free to just keep an eye out on Pinball Mayhem, like and subscribe, and work with me on when it's time to work on the bench. It's just looking for some share what I'm doing, little people to come chat, and hopefully there's something you guys can gain out of this. I'm just going to put this back together. I'm going to throw her in. Get this wall box functioning as it should. And back to one piece, because that's one thing I would like, is to have less pieces laying around here. The whole goal of streaming is to complete some projects. Now the screwdriver's way not enough. And of course the part of the stream you guys don't get to be a part of is the final part, which is to put everything away. Alright, I'm just going to turn this off. Don't want to accidentally short anything. So what are we hooking into? I think that's pretty much it. Feels like it's not going down all the way on the left. There we go. There we go. I had to get the key to get it to lock down. Okay. Rocking and rolling. Well, we got this out. Let's just get this. This is all junk. Do I have any more over here? I should. Some fresh steel wool. One thing that's good for this, if you got a good chrome finish, it'll help take a bunch of paint on this lock, corrosion, pinball legs. You take the rust off of them with it. I've also seen people use aluminum, actually aluminum foil, just aluminum foil by itself. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay. Everything straightened back out. That's down where it should be, cleaned up. I think we're done with this for a bit. Next, we gotta take a look at these title pages, because I think there's something wrong, horribly wrong with these springs. Okay. So they should naturally want to stay open. There. So if I go like that, like that, there. You get a new title strip. Alright, and that is going to go nope, can't go that way. Something's not working right. Maybe this needs to be unlocked. There, okay. That's down, that's down. Let's check voltage. Turn that on. Alright. Blah! Got a little zap on the shoulder, on the arm. This doesn't like to not be seated all the way, but there you can see we got the title pages in, and next is the cover. And let's see where we got the covers in. I actually got a couple pieces back over there. What goodies do I have for myself? Oh, just in case, there are new title page springs available. Victory Glass has these. These are those ones that I thought were gone, but they were here. Don't know what that spring is for, and this is what the coin box looks like. And I can install that now. Alright, so I don't need the springs. There. Alright, so coin box is installed. So I want to make sure I wasn't cutting that wire that I did before. And then the last thing we got here is this. Let's see if I can get this out. Alright, so there's a piece of metal here at the bottom. You can see it right there. It's worn from being rubbed on. Here's a new reproduction one. Let's see what this bad boy looks like. So when those pages aren't sitting down right, they rub on it like that. There we go. Nice screen printed new piece of metal. There. So what has to happen here, it needs to get cleaned. And just because it's dingy and dirty, I'm going to clean the inside. I don't like that. I'm going to clean it first before I put a little chrome polish on this. This case is in okay shape. And be careful not to break the glass. There's reproduction glass out there, but why? And I just want to clean it. Clean it so I'm not dealing with dirt and dust and stuff. So hopefully now that you see this case, it's kind of getting familiar. We are, sticky finger. We're getting on the final part. We'll be putting this together pretty soon here, so might as well stick around for a little bit longer and finish this, see what it looks like together, one piece. Hopefully I get it right. I'm not going to take the glass out because I don't think I need to break it or risk breaking it. Put that gunk in there, I don't like that. So I am going to grab a toothbrush. And that's going to allow me to get down in there. So when you get new toothbrushes, you should get a new toothbrush every, at least every 6 months. Get your teeth cleaned every 6 months, you get a new toothbrush every 6 months. Use your old toothbrush, put it in the basement for getting good scrubbing done. If you use it all the time, like me, you'll go through a scrubbing, you'll destroy your scrubbing toothbrush in less than 6 months, but wow. Alright, that got down everything we needed to. Cool. Alright, so we need to change out this piece of metal. I lost it. There's a piece of plastic in there we need to put in. We need to make sure that we get that back in. So I am going to do that. Then I'm going to clean the glass on inside. So I'm just going to take off this retainer. There we go. Only had to do one side. So that's the old piece of metal. That is my select lens. And I am going to clean that right now. Start with a little bit of Totally Awesome. This would be something that you could put into a ultrasonic to get it good and clean too. And just scrubbing in circles because I want to get all the stuff out of the select word. You're going to be amazed how much nicer that looks. And that's the sound that I'm running out of time. Alright, let's see. Okay. Still a little dirty on that side, I think. Yeah, I can see it. That's not clean. Alright. You could take a little white paint and rub it in there if you want. What I'm going to do is, I don't mind. Actually, that's bothering me. That is bothering me. That S is dirty. Going to pick at it with a toothpick a little bit, get some of that stuff out. Better. Alright, last thing I'm going to do is a little bit of Novus. It's plastic, so you can give it polish. Doesn't look too bad. And then before I put this in, I'm going to clean the glass. And of course I keep going back and forth and keep not grabbing everything. Alright, let's clean this glass. Okay, I'll have to clean the outside of the glass too, but got that, and I got my select lens. Select is readable on the outside. Got this, I got my select lens. Select lens sits in there. And what we're going to do is just hold them together. Slide it in underneath that, and I'm going to put this bracket back. Put the bracket back. Don't know if anyone's still out there. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys watching the recording. Hopefully someone has a 3W1 that you want to work on and you say, hey, I can do that. Don't even need a reason why. Just want one. A little bit of, get that halo out of the sides. Clean up a couple hundred more times before I put it on the shelf for good. There. All right. Nice original Seeburg 100 Selecto-Matic. That's for a pin bank machine. We can talk about that more later. I'm just gonna, I could chrome polish this whole case. I'm not gonna get into that right now. That's one thing I'm sure you guys want to watch me do, is chrome polish a wall box case. This is not the best chrome, but it's mine. Okay, I'm going to turn off my wall box. Set this down. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just throw this away. What I'm going to do is actually put a couple things away off this table, because things are falling all over the place and it's not working well. Because I want to lay this down, turn that off. I'm going to fish my lone power test cable to the back. I'm going to put this wall box cover on. So okay, that should be right. So the wall box will actually slip over this, and has pins in the bottom that key it on. And we're going to just put that on right now. Like it's not my key is not retracting enough. Okay, let's try it again. Hey Chris, no, I'm not standing in a waiting pool. Having a heck of a time getting this cover to snap in place. I can tell you that. And it's rubbing. Yeah, this is not making me happy. Alright, so we have a problem. That's a good question. I don't know. I think they were all they were mostly included in you know, operators would add them in, or they would be owned, kind of like the jukeboxes weren't actually for sale. They were for sale for operators, but not to, you know, your standard individual. That's a very good question. So problem I'm having is with something with the coin mech. Is not jamming on the locking mechanism. This is not for a Seeburg LPC 480. I can guarantee you this won't work with that. I wonder if this is not the right coin mech for this machine. That might be my problem all around. If I go like that, yeah, it's hitting. So I'm going to do, just to be able to conclude the stream, because I'm going to have to look for a different coin mech for it. It's unlocked. I'm going to put the title holder back in. That's where that goes. I'm going to install the cover once again, but I'm not going to lock it. I'm hitting something at the bottom. Oh, there we go. Okay, one thing I wanted to check, and I'm holding it off the edge of the table, is feels like I'm getting some rubbing, and we do not want rubbing because that's what makes the whole bottom plate look bad. So that's something that needs to be addressed in this assembly. This is a wall box, CW Graham. It's this is what talks to the jukebox. There we go. Okay. So there is either an adjustment or something that is out of whack on this. So your jukebox talks 40, plays the 45s. See if it's bending those up a little bit. There is somebody who makes an adapter to convert wall boxes to talk to an MP3 player. Not us. It's not our jam, but that has been manufactured. I'm getting a little stuck here, guys. I'm not happy with. Alright, so if that's there. I think the problem is in the actual pages. So I'm trying to see what the... Aha! Alright. I got it figured out. It's this bottom tab. That should raise it up. I think it's just worn. Which may need to make some spacers for this. Because the pages are noticeably lower on this side. Alright, well, so I'm going to put this together, power it up. We're going to call it good for tonight. See if that did anything. But if you're going to bother to put in a new bottom plate, I'm going to hold that. There. I just clear now. I'm holding it like it was locked in, but that's something, if I don't hold it, it rubs. So, I'm going to put something here so it doesn't squish the wires. Power it on, you can see it light up. I'm going to move this over here. I should have done that a while ago. Oh, it doesn't let me. Alright. You can see the select light there is lit, and I can make a selection. So, it's just, it's dry enough that I keep cracking. We are pretty much back together. It just needs me to figure out why I can't lock it, and that would help those pages not drag on the bottom. I need to make sure that that doesn't drag when I turn it, because I can feel a little bit, but I have to like hold this tight. If not, I can put some spacers on that page. Let's see the next page. this page is good. It's just this one page just needs either a spacer or something just to hold it up. You know, Wallbox Chrome's not the greatest, but can't take the best one. We have some really nice ones for sale at work, but this is it's a good solid box. This is the standard. Everyone thinks wall boxes. This is what they think. I think there's a Sopranos episode with one on there. It was in Back to the Future, as I said. It's the classic wall box, and you can tell pages flip, so that means it's the original. We got the original buttons here. They actually lock all the way down when there's credits on it, so it's good. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys spending me a couple hours with me on and off. Hopefully turn my workbench off. I'm going to just put stuff away and call it a night, but one more project almost done. So stay tuned. I'll just be doing random streams from time to time when I'm working on my workbench and talking to you guys. So have a good night. Good night, InPins. Good night, CW Graham. Thank you for the chats. Later. Oh, I should go to here. Here to say bye. I'm getting back to the groove of things. It's going to take me a little bit.